And now the sauce is the secret ingredients that are going to go out and capture the people that are going to buy or that you're targeting, right?
Thank you for tuning in to Quick Connect today. We are going to do something a little bit different and have a little bit of fun with you. So I am Andra, and I am joined today by Pete, head and founder of Equilibrium Consulting. Thank you for joining me, Pete.
Hey, how are you?
If you don't know Pete, he's pretty amazing enough to dress up as a chef and do this segment with me. He also consults with many technology companies on many different topics, anything from business development, channel strategy, marketing, and the list goes on. So today, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with you over lunchtime, and we're gonna draw some parallels and connect some dots between making pizza, which you can see all of our amazing ingredients, and marketing. So we're taking the scary out of marketing today, and we're just gonna have some fun with you. So Pete, let's get started because I'm starving. Okay, so we are going to start off. First things first, in marketing and in pizza making, you have to know your audience, right? So Pete, who are you making your pizza for today?
Well, who am I making it for today? I'm making it for my audience, which is my internal staff here at Equilibrium. So they're going to get a great lunch. The ones that do work here or are out of here, as well as family that's obviously quarantined with us. But you know, the buying persona is, who is it? Who do you want to, you know, appeal to in your marketing plan? So, you know, that's you know, in my case, in your case, you know, we'd be looking at technology providers or channel partners or whatever. So my base is right here, you know, in my crust.
Absolutely. I love that. And then what kind of crust? So you said it was a homemade crust. You told me off air.
I can't reveal that recipe.
Okay, I love it. Okay. So
that's a very important internal, you know, recipe that.
Yes. So as in pizza making, obviously, like Pete said, you've got to know your base, who you're going after, who that prospect base is, who that customer base. Pete and I are obviously in quarantine, so he's got some great, you know, family members and some team members who are going to enjoy his. I am going to be making one for littles in my house, and then also obviously adults. So there's going to be two flavors. And again, it's important to know when you start to market and you start to go to market, figuring out who it is that you're targeting. I see a lot of people, you know, start off just putting things out that they might want, and that might not necessarily be the best for your target audience. So as Pete mentioned, we all look after tech businesses, and that's who we're going after. So today, our audience on my side is going to enjoy some cauliflower crust. Pete, and you are having, is yours gluten-free dough? Are you regular dough? What do you have over there?
We're just straight up dough. We're just straight up dough.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So as we get started, you know, Pete and I are going to talk with you just a little bit about, once you know your audience, right? So now Pete knows who is going to dine at his pizza shop or who he obviously consults with in the space. I know who I'm creating my marketing plan for, and we're going to get started. So we need a base. So Pete's got some dough over there. I have some cauliflower crust as well, and talk through, you know, marketing today, and especially in digital quarantine, Pete, we've got to really understand how we're going about, like, what we're basing all of our marketing on. And a lot of times now that's tools. So talk me through some of your favorite, you know, MarTech tools or marketing automation systems. There's got to be a place that we're putting all of this into in order for it to deliver, right?
Obviously, you know, our list is golden, right? So,
yes.
You know, where we house that, how we maintain that is really important. Whether, you know, your favorite CRM, but, you know, we work with a lot of inside of the ConnectWise platform, or, you know, some of the other major CRMs, a HubSpot or things of that nature. So using a bunch of different tools. I know you guys have one that you use too, some of your automation, don't you?
Absolutely, we do. Well, one of the things that's interesting too, I love that you're bringing data into it and the tool. So you mentioned secret, you know, all the secret spices of your dough. What you're founding, you know, marketing on, it's got to be sound data, right? So that is your secret sauce. That is, you know, who you're sending marketing to, who that target audience is. And I know one of the things that you and I, Pete, care a lot about is making sure that that database is clean, right? Like bad data in, bad data out. And same thing with your marketing strategy on top of that. So I know obviously with both of us, making sure the CRMs are systems that are actually used. When data comes in, it's actually put in properly and tagged properly so it can be marketed to properly, because that is your goal. And then on top of that, then using that data and putting it inside of systems. I know a lot of the smaller tech companies, we do have our own marketing automation systems that we use for and on behalf of partners, but a lot of times talk through some of the more cost-effective versions that partners have, like a constant contact, or there's things out there that are light and easy if someone hasn't even started marketing yet, right?
Yeah, so Constant Contact or MailChimp, or there's a couple of other campaign what they one, but those tools will house the data, and they will allow you to maintain your list with a pretty good degree of integrity.
And then too, thinking through, as IT service providers or even vendors in the space, as you go about looking into the type of platform that you are going to put at the base of all of your marketing, it's important obviously to look and make sure it's cost effective with your budgets, but two, make sure that it engages with all of the items and ties in back to that database and syncs. So when you're doing marketing and you're putting out these pieces, right, you got to make sure that it comes all the way back and it's communicating and syncing with that database so that it's sound. So we've got our golden gooses, we've got our dough. This is your tools, your marketing automation systems, your data, all the secret sauce, and all of the pieces that you are making sure that you're collecting on any of your prospects or even current clients, right? Continue to collect data on them. Now let's get to the sauce. What do you think the sauce is, Pete?
It's the basis now that we've taken that list and all that data and we've moved it over. And now the sauce is the secret ingredients that are going to go out and capture the people that are going to buy or that you're targeting, right? So there's a lot of ingredients in there that go in. So I'm going to take my tool, my automation.
Yeah.
I'm going to just get my sauce in there. I like I really like a lot of sauce on mine. So
I totally agree. I think, and I love your tools. You've got your ladle, you have your hat, and your jacket. I tried to find the silliest apron I could, and I love it. So I think that apron looks great. Dude, well, thank you. So as we're talking about, the sauce, and I love that you're saying, bring out the secret sauce. And this is, all those ingredients that you're going to go to market with, right? So in this, even prior to obviously putting together the pizzas or the marketing plans, you've got to know a lot about your business in order to do that. Some of these I think are important, Pete, that I think a lot of our tech firms out there could really benefit from going back and getting a better understanding of is really, taking a good look. I call it auditing the business, but taking a good look at what your secret sauce even is anymore, right? Like, what's the makeup of your company? What, do you want to go to market with? What's your tone, your voice, your branding? What are some things that you think are important too for them to be thinking about to make up that secret sauce?
That's really important. A lot of companies go out to market and they don't know their tone. They don't know what their product is. They don't know what they're really selling because they don't have a product catalog, right? So that's really tough to get the right voice when everybody in the company is not saying the same thing or understanding the same thing. So, there's two parts of marketing, right? Andra, there's the marketing that you're going out to who you're selling to, and then there's the internal marketing to make sure everybody's saying the same thing and has the same idea. But, realistically, do you know what your product is and what those key phrases and things that are going to go to the people that are buying, that are going to spark them to engage with you, right?
Absolutely. And I love that you talk about the internal marketing. I think that that's something that's really underrated is making sure that, and that has a lot to do with two things. One, you've got your internal marketing from an HR perspective, like your culture and the core values of the company and what you're based on. But then you've also got, you have to make sure that the internal team and company understands what you're building out. It isn't just kind of a cog in the wheel, it isn't just one part of the all-out business, but that they have a true understanding of how you're going to market and what your brand looks like out there, because they're all represented representative of the brand themselves. So if they don't know it, they can't portray it, right? So I totally agree. So this is our secret sauce. This is all the things that make a business special, and their tone and their brand and all of that. So I think, right now too, in quarantine, this is a great time to go revisit that secret sauce and see, if there's things that you can adjust and adapt with the times, or even just take a second to plan a little bit before we get back out of quarantine. So let's talk about some of the elements. So we've got our base, we've got our data, we've got our tools and automation that we're going to use. Now we've got our secret sauce. Who are we as a business? What differentiates us? Now let's talk about some of these delicious toppings. So what about these toppings? What do you think these are?
I personally like pepperoni.
Yes, I agree. I love pepperoni with you. I agree. I have pepperoni here too.
What's really interesting about pizza, as we look at all these ingredients. So the pepperoni is one ingredient, right? And it's too good. I gotta swallow. When you look at marketing, is any one component of marketing going to make you successful, right? So you always hear, oh, I do SEO, and I do pay for performance, or I do email marketing, or I'm doing events. And I always ask and say, how successful are you with just one component, or some of these other? So I'm going to start with I think I'm going to start with organic SEO.
Okay, I love it. I'll put some organic SEO on mine too. So I hear you when you say, especially in our space, right? So we've got a lot of amazing minds in our space. I mean, you and I both love this channel that we live in the technology space. And with that comes a lot of talent for understanding tech, but a lot of room for opportunity to learn about marketing. And I have similar conversations to where businesses will say, oh no, I tried to do my website once, or I tried to send out, some emails a couple times. And it's making sure that, I call it a layered approach, right? Which is what we're doing, right? We're layering on our ingredients, but a layered approach to successful marketing. So once you know that secret sauce and you build out that content for that secret sauce and what that looks like, now it's time to spread it around in all of these different deliverables. So I hear you. I'm putting some SEO on mine as well. What
else you got? What are you going to add in?
I'm thinking, so I want to add some cheese in. So in my cheese, I'm going to actually make the cheese our content. So our content kind of spreads over everything, right? So, and it's a little bit of a base on top of our secret sauce. So I'm going to put some mozzarella content in there. And one of the cool things I think about, content development is, as long as the companies, any one of our tech service providers or vendors or anyone in our space, everyone knows a lot about a lot. And everyone really, it takes a second to think, how can I translate that into content? But you can make it into so many different things. And there's so much that I think, service providers know that others don't, that are really, really beneficial. So it's really about kind of getting it spread around in a bunch of different deliverables and making sure you're kind of getting your voice out there. So I would say I'm calling our cheese our content that we're going to develop and be thought leaders and spread it around all of our toppings.
Now, I love that you're putting the cheese down, because content is really where you got to start. And before you even get to that organic SEO, I make pizza backwards. I put all my elements, not in marketing, but in pizza. I put all my elements, and then I let the cheese melt over the top. So
you've already got your content figured out, so you can work backwards. So you're good.
Right. But I do believe that your content is king after understanding who you're selling to and things of that nature. And, you and I share a story about making pizza, so I have to follow the way that pizza was taught to me to make it right.
I like it. So organic SEO. So one of the things, what do you think is a misconception about SEO? That would be that, or even something that's maybe not even understood that well by a lot of our partners that we can share with them today?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is people think of marketing and they think the minute that they flip a switch, the expectation is going to be, I'm going to have leads just flowing through my door the next day. And so, they don't understand, or they haven't had the expectation set that, I like to say it's like a train getting on a track. You got to get up, get the head of steam, and then you just got to keep running. And when you get to the other side of the country, the train turns around and it just keeps going back and forth. And the conductor learns the routes and the, all the different nuances and continuing to absorb the change content and SEO and all the other elements of marketing. So I think expectations are a huge component of understanding what your marketing is going to do and where the handoff to sales is, right? And where is that boundary in between that's gray. But, where they fail or they say they fail is usually not because of a component that somebody didn't do for them. It's usually the lack of all of the ingredients that make it successful, right? And the expectation of what needs to be done along the way.
Absolutely. And then how long? I mean, I love that you mentioned the how long, because that expectation of, especially when a lot of these partners are new to marketing or maybe have done just some but didn't have the endurance to keep going and do more. But that expectation of, okay, wait, how long does SEO take? Because it's not overnight, right? SEO is organic. And the deal with that is making sure that you've got the right content to be searchable inside the search engines that are going to be that, I call it the matchmaking, right? You got to make sure the person searching for you can be found, that you can find you, but you've got to make sure that the keywords that are relevant and are highly searched with that target audience we talked about can be found. And so SEO is hugely important. You definitely have to be patient with that one. Let's throw in another ingredient. What else do you have over there?
I threw some sausage on already.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, talk about it.
Just because I started smelling that pizza that's in the oven right now, and it's making me hungry.
Okay, I like it.
But I threw some sausage on here, and we talked about content, and so the cheese will come on here, but underlying the content is things like you said, is keywords and phrases and things that are going to go into every piece of collateral that we do, whether it's digital or print, right?
Absolutely.
Or even through a webinar of producing content, right? There's things that we need to make sure are underlying in the content. So that's kind of why I put some of my ingredients down first, is to get the underlying components built in, so then I can write around the content and make sure then we optimize the rest of it.
I love that. And Pete and I are proving to you that there's not one way to go about marketing, right? So he is overlaying his content on last. I put all my content down first, and then figuring out which ingredient I'm going to use with it. I'm putting out some mushrooms right now, and I'm going to consider mushrooms.
I was going to do ham and pineapple, but I've gotten some, I've heard some really bad reactions to ham and pineapple in that Hawaiian style pizza.
Look at that. So
I think it's great.
Well, you just proved a point though, Pete. The ham and pineapple doesn't work with your target audience. So you got to stop running those campaigns, right? You got to just make sure that you're only serving up what's going to get the reaction that you want, which is engagement and coming back for more, right? So mushrooms and I've got a couple other things that are a little bit interesting in here too. But another element, to really consider when you are going about marketing. So we talked a little about SEO and being able to be searched, making sure that you've got some other unique things like maybe mushrooms, maybe that's digital ads, or making sure that you're getting out there, you're testing out different ways to get in touch with your audiences. Another piece of understanding ad placement and kind of paid media is also social. So making sure LinkedIn, it's the largest network for B2B. It's a huge, huge space to make sure that you're going out there and you're producing content there. So your paid ads and your social, I think that those are really important. So I'm going to consider my paid ads, my mushrooms, and then I'm going to put on some social black olives on one of them. Social media is huge. How do you feel about social media, Pete?
I think it just shows, there's two different ways with social. There's the selling, providing and educating. And then there's the way to show the culture and the people side, the human side of the business that we don't get to do anymore because we don't get to go out and, especially now, right? We don't get to go out and see our customers. I'm just putting some content down right now.
I love it. Yeah, put that content on there.
Because I always do social after we get all the content written there.
I love it. I think, one of the pieces that you're mentioning as far as social. So social is so powerful. And I know you and I both believe in social media and the power of it. And it's really just connecting with others. in different formats and in different ways. And you know,
Right.
LinkedIn is kind of like your boardroom, the things you talk about at the office. You've got, you know, water cooler conversations like Twitter. You've got, you know, Facebook is kind of the heart of the business, what you look like on the inside and your personal feel. And it's really, you know, Instagram is more of the staged items, but you can get great followings. It's really important to understand, I think, for these types of businesses that we support, is to understand how those tools can be used to better their businesses and not be afraid of it. And I think right now, one of the things I've seen in quarantine is the ability for a little bit more personal things to be able to be out on LinkedIn. I've definitely seen that morph. I think it used to be personal is Facebook, business is LinkedIn, and it blended a little bit over quarantine. And so I find that actually really interesting. But I do think social can just morph a business in really positive ways if done correctly with that content, and if it's the right things are being shared out to educate and be helpful. So I definitely hear you there.
Yep, without a doubt. Shows all aspects of the company that just, and the personality. I love it.
Yep. How do you feel about email?
I think email is you know, it's a very mixed emotion by many these days of, am I spamming, am I not? You know, in different countries like Canada, it's really frowned upon, so you have to go more to print and demand gen type things of calling to follow up and all that. You should always be calling to follow up on qualified prospects, but you know, the email is good, but it's got to be short and sweet, right? How many of these emails do you see that come out from some of these companies that are just so long, and you know, you lose attention, so you just kind of write them off. And I don't know about you, but me personally, I get over about 300 emails a day. So when I read the subject line and I look at the preview, you know, if it's not something that catches my attention in the preview, it's not going to get the attention. So it's very important to craft these things right and provide information or, you know, feeding back to our website, right? Optimizing and making the tools that you put the base and the foundation down, get them to come back to you and use that as a tool to get them to come to you, just like social. You know, all these tools, we want them to come back to the, you know,
push up, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, so you know, you think about pizza and the concept of pizza, you know, in the home back in the days of everything, everybody was around when they made pizza. All the family came around the counter when they were making pizza. I want this element, I want that, right? And then everybody got around the table, and always everybody came home on that Saturday night or Sunday or Friday to have pizza dinner or dinner at the family. So it's very, you know, very organic type things that go out, but all bringing it back to one center of all the spokes.
Yeah, I love that you call the center the website. I think, you know, having elements, and you touched on a couple things which I think are great. You know, the website is so powerful, right? That's your storefront out online. That's where people can go and figure out all of the things that you offer. And again, that content's got to be done correctly, and it's got to make sense, and it's got to be back to what we said about the secret sauce. It's got to be on brand. It's got to be to the point. It's got to be in your tone. And the goal of all these other elements, right, is baked to bring everybody back, you know, through education, awareness, helping, bring everyone back to where they can find out how to contact you, get in touch, and read up and educate themselves. You know, because I mean, we share stats all the time that talk about the you know, the majority of research and the majority of the shopping experience is happening online prior to ever even obviously speaking to a representative of the company. So that's to say that you might have turned off, and I always share, you know, you don't even know all the opportunities that you lost necessarily because they never even got to you. They never even got to that point. So you only really know about the ones that you might have lost once they chatted with you, but there's so much more out there. And to your email point, I think, you know, again, if things are done correctly, back to the data that we were talking about at the beginning, if the data is curated in the right way and emails, the right type of emails are going out in the right type of drip campaigns to the people that want to be informed that way by you, I think it can still be very powerful because they can be used in very different ways. Now, again, if you got all the other baselines wrong, if the data's wrong, if the message is wrong, if all of that's wrong, then it falls on deaf ears, like you were mentioning. And I hear you. I think a lot of times things are sent out that were inappropriate, or many times I can't tell you how many emails I get about marketing companies that are I'm just on someone's list and they want to be my marketing company, and I'm like, they have no idea who they're talking to. So it's really all about
they're carpet bombing on top of their pizza, hoping that something falls in on the right slice.
Yes, exactly. No, so I think that's hugely important. And a website, I mean, there's everything should lead back there, or lead to some sort of a way for them to get in touch with you. I mean, there's so many neat ways, like we mentioned social, to go about putting that content together. Video is everything right now. There was a stat that was 57% of consumers would rather consume your content in video than any other way. And I think things like that are really important. I mean, video is I think a great and easy, quick to market way to get a message out there.
Yep. And it also helps build the personality. And when we're talking about this quarantine, I mean, you can't meet in person anymore. So what a great way for people to see you and interact, and understand a little bit about who you are, what you look like. So when they do talk to you, or you get that opportunity to speak, they kind of have a little bit of a relationship that they form through that video.
All it is ways to generate content and get your voice out there and get your value out there in different ways. And one of the things I was just putting on a little like extra touch of olive oil around the crust, because that can add a nice little touch. And I think that symbolizes truly that extra differentiator. Like, what's that extra little thing when someone sees your company that they know, you know what, that I know that company, because that's the different thing that they always do, or that extra touch that they always have. And that could come across in anything, like the colors, words used, places, the way ads are, a call to action that might be important. So I think the extra little touches are extremely important. All right.
Yeah, I do have one more ingredient that I'm going to put on that adds to that special touch.
Okay.
And my assistant just went out to the garden to grab it.
Ooh.
So it's a very, very fresh ingredient.
And you're adding a great point, Pete, that your own personal garden, that's only something that you can do, right? That's unique to you, organic to you. And I think that that's huge in marketing. The more real and organic and fresh something can be, the better, right?
A fresh basil. The other part that I'm showing here with the team is it takes a team to market. It's not just an individual, right? It takes a lot of collaboration.
Yep.
So my team member, Denise, if you want to come over and jump in real quick. Denise helped put this together. So, she helped, or she made the crust and helped me prepare for a lot of this. But without the team and all of the different creative minds that go beyond taking this, you're not going to have the success either, because
I love that.
It takes a lot of people to put quality marketing together. So my basil is the team, because it's organic. It's come from within our organization.
And I think too, Pete, I think the item that you mentioned about teams, back to the making sure that your internal team knows the goal and the mission and the objective of the business. If Denise didn't understand the direction on what you were going to do today, it would have been really hard for her to help you, right? So there's so much collaboration and communication that has to go on for these messages and marketing and the plans and everything to come to fruition and get executed. So I think that is absolutely awesome. Couldn't agree more. Teams have everything to do with anything getting to market. And one last thing I put on mine over here was artichoke hearts on one of them.
I like artichoke hearts.
Yes, me too. I only put it on one of them. So this is what I'm calling an A/B test, right? So I think it's important in marketing to try out different new things and put in different ingredients and try out different ways to go to market. And you might fail, right? And that's okay. Don't be afraid of failure, I always say, because you've got to try it out. You've got to be unique and different and keep innovating. And you might find that people love it. And you might find that you got no reaction at all. And that is okay.
And so we had a pizza that you may have seen already came out of the oven. And, a little bit different, right? Just a cheese pizza.
Cheese and pepperoni.
Cheese and pepperoni. So a different ingredient for a different piece, probably equally as good to the people that just love cheese and pepperoni.
it's some of the basics, right? So knowing the things that you can, like some of the basics that, you know, the lion's share of people really enjoy. So that's some tried and true marketing, and some things that, you know, are very popular already, which I think is great. And then like the pizza that you just made, getting a little unique and different and innovative.
Get this one in.
This is fun.
I look at this pizza right here, right? And
yeah.
So we've got this pizza that's just pepperoni and cheese.
Yeah.
And what do I equate this to? So there's another component of marketing that everybody forgets about, and it's called client nurture, right? And so this has our base with a little bit of personality in it being the pepperoni, right? There's still some ingredients that we need to do. And I don't mean just operationally going out and have quarterly meetings. We still need to market and nurture our customers about new things and important things. We don't want to forget about them, because if we forget about them, somebody else is still marketing to them, right? Absolutely. So if you're not talking to them, somebody else is. So we definitely have to perform on an operational capability and do our quarterly reviews, but we still have to market to our existing base. And that's a really forgotten component of a lot of marketing organizations or internal marketing staffs is, you know, they're our client. We don't need to do. And that may be client appreciation type things where you send them something, or a note, or a card, or how you doing, or an email. It could be where you go and bring them coffee and just send them a cup of coffee and say, we're thinking of you. It's little things that keep you in touch with that customer and help build that relationship stronger, right? So this pizza is ready, and this is a customer appreciation pizza.
And also, to your point, there are so many net new products and services that IT providers continue to build out as they broaden their portfolio. And many times the customers that they maybe brought on when a package was different or when they didn't have this other solution, they don't know about it until they're marketed to. So I 100% agree. One thing I'll add to that actually as well is we always say marketing to really three prongs. It's your prospects, your current clients, and your referral partners. So I know now we're in kind of a funny time because we're all in quarantine. So it's a much different marketing age at the moment, but I think it's a great catapult into digital marketing for many of you that might have been scared of marketing or scared of what digital marketing really even meant. But one of the other buckets, as Pete mentions, current clients, which is hugely important. Because you're absolutely right, Pete. If you're not marketing to your current clients, someone else is marketing to try and take them away, and they're just waiting for you to slip up so that they can be their next service provider. And on the other side of it is referral partners. So offer, incentives to your referral partners to continue to refer you as the business, whether that's CPAs that you're close with or other types of businesses that fall into a referral partner program. So before we jump off, and let everyone get back to creating their own pizzas over lunch and putting their own marketing strategies together, I love that point you're making about current clients. Anything else that you want to share with partners that may be just starting to think about marketing or starting to audit their practice while in quarantine?
Well, I think everybody knows right now we need to do a much softer sell, right? It's a time where the hardcore marketing and call to actions are probably inappropriate. Although you want to do it, and that's what instinct tells you to do, you have to come down to a different more. So we've kind of changed from calling it digital marketing to human marketing. We're looking at the human aspects of people are frustrated, they're worried about finances and all that. So it really comes down to, in this time, how can you help, right? What are you doing to help them as a company, whether it's a client, and ongoing things and education things that you can do that are going to strengthen your position. At the same time, as what can you do to keep your prospects warm and let you know that you're there, and they can reach out if they need to do, right? Absolutely. So it's a very, very interesting time for the marketeers like you and us, the two companies, to make that shift and help everybody shift their thought that way too, because that's not, they have an idea to do that. So that's something there. But one of the other things that I've talked about, and I think is very important, is what have we learned during this time?
Yes.
You know, what have you done to go back and look? You know, maybe you have some time to go back and look over your data now, where your successes or not so successful. We don't have failures, right? We just don't have it as successful, right? But well, what's the data points that we can have to shift our marketing to be more direct, more targeted, and use this time to do that? And then the second part is look, economically, we're also looking at, you know, when we come out of this, that there may be another dip 4, 6, 8 months down the road. And will you be ready to go into that dip? As you come out of this, you're going to be running at full steam, marketing and trying to build the pipeline back up and all that. But now you're running smooth again. And when we start running smooth is when we get sloppy.
Yeah.
Right? And we forget what happened really quick because we're so focused on today and tomorrow and what that pipeline looks like. So, you know, get prepared for that next dip. Get your plans put in place so it becomes part of your continuity and business continuity and you know, contingency planning, so you're ready to go into that next phase. And I think that's something that a lot of people just they can't wrap their heads around that. They know it's coming, they're talking about it, but they never think that that should be part of their contingency plan. And I would promote that it should be.
And I think now more than ever has been a huge lesson. Not only are we seeing things that, you know, I think more appreciation has been shown for service providers than ever before, in my opinion. I think the same thing goes for marketing and awareness and education. I think now more than ever, when the more comfortable schools of thought, that in-person meet and greet, that in-person, you know, shake of hand of a referral business coming your way, or that event that everyone went to and got to see each other and get pipeline built that way. I think that just as you're saying, that business contingency plan to be able to go remote overnight, right? Everyone's got their plans in place for the business. The same goes for marketing, right? So you've got some things in the can or plans that you can be building out right now for when you get back. And I call that now and later marketing. So you've got the marketing that you've got to do now, which is that very human approach, like you mentioned, education, showing up and just seeing how you can help, bottom line. And truth be told, that should be marketing anyways. Right? So marketing and sales really should just be helping at all times. I think, like you said, when everyone gets comfortable again, that gets lost and people start getting salesy and over the top. Whereas if you stay in that very centered place, which is health, education, going to market in that way and making sure that you're analyzing that data, you've got the right plans in place. I think obviously great things come from it, and people remember who is there to help them. And I think that that's really, really important. So I'm with you. I think getting those plans in place, making sure that people don't forget what's happening now, and looking at a little bit deeper as far as what their, you know, data looks like, taking this moment that we've got to slow down for a second and using it to be really productive and trying to kind of stay away from being scared and all the emotions that'll eat away your energy, and really use it to go look at your business and say, look, how can we learn from right now? How can we test out and experiment in some things right now that we maybe didn't before, right? And then how can we, you know, prepare for getting out of this? I 100% agree with you. I think that's great.
Yep. Shows agility too.
So one of the things that I think is extremely important is that taste test, right? So back to the why we created the pizza in the beginning is to make sure that it is engaging and perfect for the audience that we're creating it for. The other piece of that is every good chef tastes their own, right? So you got to make sure that you're checking the campaigns that you put through, right? Yeah, exactly. You check all the ingredients. You have to taste test the ingredients to make sure that all the pieces and deliverables that you created in these campaigns are exactly what you anticipated. So that's testing your campaigns, understanding that you built things properly, and again, back to making sure that it's built the way you anticipated. Then you send it out, right? You deliver that pizza to your target audience, and then they taste it. And that's where you really get good thoughts and feedback on what they thought. And the feedback would be in, did they click? Did they visit the website? Did they do that call to action? And did they actually do what we anticipated them to do?
Right.
And you keep changing to get better responses. Can you smell your pizza right now?
I can.
Yeah. I can tell you, like, I just want my pizza. Well, this is what we'll do.
I feel like the cartoon, you know, back when you were a kid, they had the Bugs Bunny where they put the apple pie, grandma put the apple pie on the windowsill, and smoke went out and they grab, and Elmer Fudd floats in. I feel like I'm about to turn sideways and float over to the other.
Because you can smell it. Well, this is what we'll do. Send me a photo of what your pizza looked like when it was completed, and I want to see a photo of someone taste testing it as well to see how it turned out. But in the meantime, I hope that Pete and I gave you something to think about, gave you some fun ways to think about marketing and how it is not so scary and it is fun and you can do so many different things with it. Pete, thank you so much for joining. It's been a blast.
I'm thinking that, you know, if I could reach through the camera, I might have to taste that. Those artichokes are really good.
I know, I'm thinking your pizza might be looking better than my pizza. I love that. You'll have to let me know how it tastes because I would love to be sharing it together in the same space, but we'll do that after quarantine is over. So thank you for joining, Pete. I love a good marketing conversation with other marketers, and thank you all for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks. Take care.